Good morning, Dumelang middag. Okay, so welcome to Coffee Chat. Week two of Coffee Chat. I'm doing this bi-weekly. So it's going to be having two jam-packed coffee chats every single month. And today we're going to be talking about something that probably is one of the most important things you should know as a landlord, but also as a tenant. That is evictions. Evictions. The bane of every existence. As tenants, nobody wants to be evicted, and as a landlord, nobody wants to action them because they're tedious, tiresome, and consume so much energy and money. However, if this is your first time watching us, welcome to the SA Property Investors Network Coffee Chat. And we are all that simple. We are a group of like-minded individuals who will literally just want to help you start or grow your property portfolio. How do we do that? Well, we're education based, and we will actually help you network and connect and find deals alongside removing the veil of property investment. So how do we do that? We are having events. The year has officially started. I know we came back in like mid some of us, but we're still kind of finding the feet. A lot of us are still, moving about, still trying to figure out things. But now we started, and we have, whew, yeah, we have events. We have events upon events. So if you check the chat box right now, I'm going to just quickly go briefly through all of them. We're having a free workshop. Okay, the link to this will be in the chat box, and that's happening on the 31st of January. The 31st of January. The 10th of February, I beg your pardon. And then we are going to be having the SAPIN Women events. That's also happening on the 10th. So, ladies, we started the year like this. We're going to be talking about student accommodations, beginning of the year. This is a high risk or high reward strategy. And this is something we're going to be unpacking if you want to look into student accommodation. And as always, it's not usually you have to have 100, 200, 300 beds. We literally started with less than 10 beds, but we're going to be unpacking that. Also, we're going to be having a Durban casual coffee meetup on the 10th. So the 10th is pretty busy. We're having a meetup in Durban, a workshop in Johannesburg, and a Sapin Women Network event. We're also going to be having webinars on the 13th of February. We're having a public event, the first one of the year. That is the 15th of February. We're going to be having the Johannesburg Network event. First, I have to check all of that. Then we're going to be having another workshop in Victoria. That's going to be happening on the 17th of February among 7 weeks. And then we're going to be having a field night. So to all my investors who are watching this, if it's too busy to be finding deals, if it's too busy to be looking for deals, we're going to be actually presenting investor-specific deals for you for the Precision Deal Night. And that's going to be happening on the 21st of February. And then we also have the Young People's event the 22nd of February. And as always, the 24th and 25th, we are having our 2-day practical property investing workshop. These are the website link is in the chat. And those are the ones we're going to be covering for today. There's quite a few of those that will, get back to those. As always, please let me know where you're watching us from. Just let me know in the chat box. So today we're going to be speaking to a phenomenal woman who is an attorney extraordinaire. She is with Expello, and this lovely lady, like she literally eats, breathes, sleeps evictions. Like the back of her hand, if you want to do an eviction, you speak to Elize. But I'm going to let her introduce herself even more better. Just give me one sec. And that is Elize le Roux. How are you, lovely lady?
Good afternoon, Khali, and what an amazing opportunity to be here. I love the introduction. As the CEO of Expello, yes, we deal with a lot of evictions. That is so true. Even if our aim is to prevent them, unfortunately, they do happen.
Yes. Prevention is always better than cure. So ideally, you want to not go there. But if you end up having to do them, there's only one person you speak to, and that's Elize. There's nobody else because Elize is going to streamline that whole thing super quickly. So Elize, The viewers always know that they should get their questions in the chat box. But as always, we always have pre-edited questions from Facebook throughout the week, depending on our topic. And so I just want to get straight into it. And this is something I think, a lot of people understand the concept of evictions, but they don't know the logistics and the legalities of it. And that's why you're here. So I think the first one, that we want to understand is, what are the legal steps involved in the eviction process, in our jurisdiction?
So, Kali, the most important step of all the steps are your letter of demand. Believe it or not, this is the fundamental step because if you get that wrong, the whole process is going to fall apart and it's going to cause a delay.
Mm,
So I usually say to people, the parts that you control, make sure you control it correctly. It's if you don't have the knowledge to manage your own property, make sure you partner with enough people, or have an agent or somebody to guide you.
mhm,
So because the letter of demand, you don't always want to go to an attorney immediately to deal with that part. A lot of systems allows you to do that. So rather have your letter of demand, get it done correctly. If they don't remedy the breach, that means they didn't pay if you demanded payment, then
mm,
what you do is you cancel and then you go to an attorney. Please do not attempt to do the eviction yourself. I have the pleasure of dealing with a lot of attorneys nationwide, and
mhm,
even if you deal with an attorney that doesn't have experience in evictions, you're going to have problems.
mm,
So I think for the legal process, what you need to know is your pre-process. I almost want to say your letter of demand and cancellation is super important. And then you follow the process in terms of the PI Act. I say the PI Act has got nothing to do with pies. It sounds very nice, but it's the Prevention of Illegal Evictions Act. So in a summary, that's the process that needs to be followed, and an attorney will follow that three-step process.
Okay. So it's interesting that you said that, there's certain things you can do prior to even seeing an attorney. And that's obviously standard is a letter of demand. And then, there's a few more other steps. And sometimes, if you're lucky, it stops right there at the letter of demand, provided that you did get it from, a qualified experienced attorney. And so therefore you don't need to see that. But then let's argue, unfortunately, it goes further. It escalates and it doesn't just get rectified by the letter of demand. But can you explain the typical timeline for like a complete eviction?
And Kali, this is very important because a lot of people think you're going to start the eviction and they're going to be out of the property tomorrow. And then I
Mm,
have to feel like this absolute bearer of bad news to say an average eviction, if it's unopposed, it means they're not even fighting the eviction. You're looking at about 3 months to get your order. So 3 months before you get a court order to say that the person should be evicted. And
mm,
what I'm seeing standard in South Africa, they give them a further month before they need to vacate. So you're looking at 4 months where the legal process is going on and you're not getting any income. And that is if
mm.
everything goes well. Listen, in some provinces you might be lucky and you look at 3 months, but in some provinces you look at 5 months. And I know SAPIN is nationwide. So, you know, that's one of the realities. There's no shortcuts, unfortunately, with this.
Okay, that's a bit scary. I don't think you know it's wise for that to the standard. However, if you're saying this, then you're saying it's about 3 months unopposed, the person isn't objecting. We can argue for, but then now we want to know the main premise is nobody really wants to do eviction. Nor does anybody want to, go through the process of an eviction. So in that case, then, are there any alternative solutions or negotiation strategies before getting to an eviction? I know you did mention, the letter, but is there anything else?
So, Kari, I have to say, I think this part, the anything else, is the most important part for Expello, because
Mm,
we say exactly that. Our first aim is always to prevent eviction, and negotiations is always important beforehand. And I think the golden nugget I want to say to the landlord is, I know that you want your money. Everybody wants their money, but you have to really go make your list, the pros and cons.
mm,
Maybe you should take a little knock and just get the person to vacate. I'm seeing, I had a lady in December saying that she actually bolted the door to prevent the tenant from leaving before she paid her. I mean, really, I said to her, no, please unbolt and let her leave as soon as possible that you can get your property back. So I think the first thing is see what is the problem and see how you can solve it. And then you have to see what is the less how you can minimize the losses you're going to suffer. I think that's the important part. That's the part of the negotiations that's really going to help you.
Okay, that's very interesting. Just a quick one to everybody. Please put your questions for Elise into the chat box. As we said, this is not every day you are able to speak to an actual evictions attorney. This is what Coffee Chat does for you. But we are going to go over for literally just a split second just to do some technical difficulty. So you might just us, just give us a second. Okay, Elise, can you hear me?
Yes, she sounds better.
Fantastic. Alrighty then. That's phenomenal. Okay. As we go in, please don't block people in for your money. Let them go. Just that's all we want. Let them go. But as I said, please put your questions in the chat box. We're gonna start, going into with those questions. Now, as we keep it flowing, I'm learning quite a lot here, and that is, in as much as you want to avoid evictions, you shouldn't be acting them. Like prevention is better than cure, right? So you should vet the tenant beforehand, because in as much as we love Elise, we highly don't recommend you see her regularly. So so then I want to know then, from a costing perspective, let's say I'm in the range, it is what it is, I have to go see Elise. What would you say the potential costs associated with an eviction process are?
So, Kali, just to say that eviction costs depending on the province, because also the provinces with the attorneys that's there, it's got different costings. And unfortunately, I know the lease agreement says you're going to hold your tenant liable, but you're not going to get the money up front. So you'll have to pay your attorney first. And please don't go hippo it. Hey? If you pick an attorney, don't go pick the cheapest. Please go on experience. So that's the caveat beforehand. But an average eviction is anything between 25,000 to 80,000 Rand. And I usually say if you deal with an attorney that's really specialized, they usually ask for a deposit because they know the type of work that they're going to give. Now, Expella has got our panel of attorneys that we deal with, and that's why we know what's happening in the different provinces, and that we can see, listen, what is the cost implications, and especially where it happens often. And then you have provinces that evictions aren't that prevalent as yet.
What provinces are those? I think we should start buying properties in those ones.
I want to say Mpumalanga and them are getting to it. I think it all depends on the demographics. I mean, Gauteng and Cape Town, those are the ones that we know we are super busy in at this
Yeah.
stage. KZN also, it's coming up, but not that difficult as yet. The problem with KZN, and it comes up with the time limits, I feel so bad. I mean, we had one eviction that took 8 months, but it is because we had the first court date, there was floods, and then there was riots, and then there's and that's things you have no control over. So shame people in KZN, that's quite
Yeah.
always a high risk.
Okay, okay. So yes, disclaimer, we're not giving, advice here, but if you were going to, maybe one might try Bumalanga. But with that being taken into place, you let's say it's like dating. You dated somebody, it didn't work out, and you got burned, and you're like, yo, I never want to experience that again. Like ever, 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 ever. I would assume it's the same with evictions. Like once you've had the ups and downs and tumultuousness of evictions, you're like never again. So then, what would you advise to fellow landlords who had done an eviction, but now what steps should they take after a successful eviction?
So I definitely would suggest that you sign up with Expeller the moment you get your new tenant, because I have to say all of our landlords that we've done evictions for actually proceeded to invest again. So they were able to go through this very bad ordeal. And like the one owner said, the eviction is not, it was terrible, but thankfully we were there to guide her, and she felt like she had somebody on her side. It is when you spend a lot of money, you don't know what's going on, and the whole process overwhelms you, that you would rather just sell your property.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference between the two. So if you want to do it, have a team that can guide you through the process, that you know exactly what's going on at all times.
Okay, and now we're taking it over to the chat box. Then we have Samkelo who wants to know, can you explain the grounds for an eviction and requirements involved? That's actually a really good question.
So the first thing is, if there's a lease agreement in place, is, well, the lease agreement should be cancelled. But the main ground is the person should be in illegal occupation. That means the lease agreement is cancelled, or they don't have any authority to stay there. If you gave them a right to stay there, you took the right back, any to that fact. So they should definitely be illegal. You have to prove to the court that it's just and equitable for the eviction to be granted. And of course, the person bringing the application, that they're actually the owner of the property. So estate agent can't bring an eviction on behalf of the owner. That's not that person in charge, they're purely an agent. So you have to be the owner, or if they say a person in charge, it means like you have a power of attorney to manage that property.
Mhm. Okay, so those are very interesting. As we keep it on, Ntaki wants to know, how do I deal with communities fighting on behalf of the tenant when you want to evict?
That's a very big problem. And I remembered when I still did a lot of evictions with that type of things, is you're going to start with a community meeting.
Mhm.
And you have to go to explain to them, because many times they have half information. So they
Yes.
feel you are the hijacker, you the fraudulent person coming in and trying to steal the property. So you have
Mhm.
to go sit with the community leaders. You have to explain to them. You have to convey and put them in their safety. Because even if you're going to try and take it by force, I mean, I was involved with the matter. They evicted the person that evening. The community came and they evicted them again. They just took control of the property again. So be safe, be secure, and then speak to the community and the leaders before you attempt something like that.
Okay, that's actually amazing advice. So then we have somebody who also wants to know, if a tenant contests the eviction, what strategies would you employ to strengthen the landlord's position?
I almost want to say, by the time you start your eviction, your position should already be strong. You should
Mm,
already be I want to say, the victim. So that is why it's so super important. Prior to an eviction, don't do anything illegal. Don't try
mm,
and go take down doors, move in, put sand in beyond their cars, anything creative. By the time you go to court, you have your affidavit, everything is written down there, and you want to put the whole case. Expellos added proof that we tried to settle, we've got proof that we tried to accommodate and mediate. So by the time you go to court, your house must be in order. You can't
mhm.
after the fact try and save it then.
Okay, so no calling of the boys whatsoever. Don't do that. It's illegal.
No, 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 please not.
Okay, so we have Kendall who says, "Hi from Durban. Why does the cost vary so much from 25K to 80K? Is it to do with the length of the case?" Thanks, Kendall. No floods today, just very humid. Okay, Kendall, that's good to know.
Kendall, so I'm actually loving my clients in KZN, and I'm going there very soon. It's absolutely depending on your matter. If depending on if you go to which court you're going to, magistrates court, high court, with some attorneys, whether it's opposed or unopposed. Remember, every time they do something, there's charges involved. And I think that's why I sort of said there's a very, with expeller clients, I mean, they're not paying anything, we're paying the bills, and that's why I know. But the variance can vary of what is happening. Postponements. Remember, you brief an attorney to be there for the day. You arrive at court and they go, sorry, load setting, we're postponing everything. You have to still pay your attorney on that day, and that's unfortunately illegal expenses occurred.
Hmm. Okay. And as we round this up, Taki now wants to know, when I buy the property with tenants, does it fall on me to evict the tenants should an eviction be needed?
Oh, now this is very important to read your OTP. So,
Mhm.
and it's a very big, important negotiation tool. So, firstly, when you buy the property, please see if they give you vacant occupation. If in the OTP stipulates the seller has to give you vacant occupation, the duty is actually on them to evict them. That's the first part. However, also you have to make sure what is stipulated. If they don't proceed with the eviction, please make sure that the conveyancers keep money back so they can pay for the eviction, because if the property is in your name, you have to do the eviction. But at least the seller has to pay for it. That is super important. If they say no, you buy the property for 200,000 less and it's your problem, then you have to evict the tenant. So please go read and also see what is part of your strategy, what is a part of your planning and how you're going to deal with it.
Okay. So as we wrap it up, Elise, I think, we've come with such knowledge that with regards to eviction, what would be your parting words, with regards to evictions from a tenant perspective and a landlord perspective?
There's no shortcuts. You follow the process. Try not to be emotional about it. I know it's not fair. I know it's not nice. I know it's
And these
pressure.
people are losing money.
Please drink a lot of tea and wine, but please follow the process as soon as possible. Send that letter of demand, be the process, and if you're not ready for it, get somebody on your team. Speak to Expello, speak to your agent, speak to someone that at least you are geared. But don't wait until you're in that difficulty and then you get overwhelmed. I see too many owners having people outstanding for 6 months and then they want to start. That doesn't make financial sense. Start from the beginning. It's a business. Okay, if you were farming with cattle, you would not give your cattle names and not slaughter them, because then you will go bankrupt. So same thing, you can still be humane, but you can still have it as a business.
Okay. We have one more quick question from Louisa. Then after that, we would be done. Is she's asking, if the demand letter has been issued, then the tenant pays partially. Oh, in that process, the next rental is due. Then they don't settle the rental for the following month. Can you issue a second demand letter?
Lisa, so the first thing I want to do is, the first myth I want to bust is, if they make a partial payment, it doesn't mean your letter of demand falls away. You can still cancel. So there's a lot of people thinking, as long as I paid something, they can't evict me. That's not correct. So they can actually still go and cancel on that first demand. You will only add a second demand. Say, for example, you demanded 8,000 Rand and they now pay you 7.5. Then it would maybe make sense to issue a second letter of demand, putting the balance with the next month, because then you have a bigger amount. But if
Yeah.
they only paid you 2,000 Rand, don't issue a new letter of demand. Rather, just cancel it on the first one and you can start your process.
Okay, that's actually very insightful. So, a letter demand still stands even if there's partial payments. Well, at least thank you so much. I know I have learned quite valuable, insights in terms of evictions. Hopefully, I will never go through it. Should I need to, I know you're my lady. But thank you so much for joining us. That is Elize from Expeller, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
Okay, and as we wrap up the coffee chat, as I said, we have a lot of events. So I'm going to go through events one more time. As always, Investor of the Year award is up, it's running. And the reason why I'm talking about Investor of the Year award is that it's literally a game changer for any one of you. So it doesn't matter how big or small your property is, please enter Investor of the Year award. And this will be our new studios, because what better place to talk about properties and all things encompassing than in an actual property? However, we are going to be going on to the March events. As I said, on the 24th and 25th of February, we're going to be having a practical property investing workshop. Then we're going to be having a mastermind on the 27th. And then we're having another free workshop. We like giving you free things, guys. We actually appreciate you. So we want to give you free things. That will be on the 28th and the 29th. Subsequently, the following week, we are going to be seeing Pretoria for the Practical Property Investing Workshop. That's going to be happening on the 2nd and 3rd of March. After that, we're having coffee chat as always. And then we are going to be having another free workshop that's on the 9th. The 12th of March, we're having a member support webinar. 13th is another precision realty deal night. So please remember, if you're an investor, you're looking for deals, but you just don't have the time for it, this is one you want to attend because we have deals specific for investors. So it's not the standard properties where you find, on property searching platforms. These ones are specific for individuals who understand property. As we keep it moving, on the 16th of March, we're going to be having a women's event again, and also we're going to be having one on the 21st of March. We're going to have a public networking event. So my Cape Townians, I'll see you guys at March, and then on the 23rd and 24th of March, we're going to be having another practical property investing workshop, because we have a few of these in each city to make sure that we, bestow information and education to everybody. And then lastly, we're going to be having a mastermind online, and that's going to be happening on the 26th of March. Yes, that was a mouthful. We're doing a lot of things. But as always, from me to you, I want to say thank you